My name is Ron, and I'm sorry for my throat. I managed to catch a cold in New Orleans. Who would imagine? Yeah. Okay. Let's start. So these 15 minutes will be about the roadmap for PingID, which is Ping MFA product. And let's start with the user. I think that in the last year, we kind of finished a whole portfolio of authentication methods, which started with the mobile app, but then grew continuously into what we call alternative authentication methods or legacy authentication methods. And this includes both the SMS, the voice, and the email authentication, which we now support. Recently, we also added the support for mobile desktop application, both on PC and on Mac. So now you see the whole portfolio of authentication methods, with the mobile application being our primary authentication, let's say smart token. And going forward, we also plan to add other authentication methods over there, for example, multiple types of biometrics. Today, it supports fingerprint biometric by Apple and Google, but going forward, it will support some more. On the lab, we also have a demo with the NIMI band. Who here knows what is NIMI band? It's a wristband, as you can see in the top bottom corner over there, what you can put on your hand, and it actually measures your heart rate, and it can identify you by your heart rate. So we kind of connected it, integrated it into our mobile application, and now it can also authenticate you along with your mobile app. Going to the backend integration of PingID, and over here we also did some work over the last year to complete the variety of the integration methods. So PingID can fully integrate with Ping1 and PingFed, and by so authenticate securely all the services and the applications which those products supports. PingID also have built-in integration for Radius, which allows us to integrate with VPN and remote access systems as needed. Recently, we GA'd the SSH capability, so you can manage all your Linux and Unix computers. We do it by force command or by PAM module, so both options are available. And a couple of months ago, we released the beta version of the Windows login integration, the credential provider. So this would be mainly for protecting your servers. So this is also now available, and you can ask it from your account team. Questions? No? Okay. Some details about the desktop application. So basically, the desktop application, it serves as a self-token. It can be installed on either Mac or Windows, starting from Windows 7. So it kind of supports all the Windows out there. If you got Windows XP, tough. It's in terms of authentication method, it supports soft tokens, so it can create those OTPs. And it supports also managing for a couple of tenants. So if you got a couple of tenants, then it also supports similar to the mobile application.
I am so going to get rid of this like announcement here.
Sorry?
Right in the road. Hey, look, we have a session today, guys. There we go.
Okay. Thanks for that, Lauren.
You're welcome.
Okay. For those of you who tried, we recently added the auto update feature, so this is coming out real soon, so this will kind of complete its first version, and you can update it and see how it works for you. It will also support multiple languages as all our user-facing authentication methods. PingID co-branding. So this feature is really coming GA in the coming weeks. It's basically full GA quality with the recent mobile application we released a couple of weeks ago. And it allows you basically to rebrand the most two significant user-facing fronts of PingID, which is the mobile application when it actually authenticates the user, the swipe. You can see it here on the left, and also the registration process, which is kind of maybe kind of intimidating to the user, because if we're doing it on the fly, then at certain point of time, the user would get, hey, just register to PingID. Even though we sent him a couple of emails before, some of them get it by surprise. So it certainly helps if this whole registration flow is fully brandable, so it looks much, much more familiar. The one aspect which cannot be seen in this slide is the ability also to brand the swipe button. Here we got the default PingID swipe button, but this also can be branded within your own branding. In terms of applying the co-branding, this is all self-service, so you can do it by yourself, change the branding as needed. If something happened or you want to do different colors, different assets, everything is fully self-service on the admin portal. You can also try it before you actually apply to the entire company. If you want to do some color changing or similar, you can also try it on a single mobile or a couple of mobile devices. The only asset which we have to be involved if you want to brand the swipe button, and over there are a little bit more trickery, so you got to send it to us and we will apply it for you. Other than this, everything is self-service. Another ability that we've added in the last couple of months, and it's really now going into very mature phase, and a couple of our customers already made it into their production systems, such as Greg here, is the ability to support multiple devices. And this is something that actually I've talked in last year's CIS session, and I promised that we will bring it, and indeed this became its way into the product. Basically, it allows the users to have multiple devices and to choose which one of his devices he wants to authenticate with. So this could be multiple smartphones or iPhone and iPad, or a couple of other authentication methods such as mobile or email. So as a user, I can say, hey, usually I authenticate with my iPhone, but if I forget my iPhone, just send me an email with my OTP and I'm fine. No, this feature is available today. It's currently under feature flag, but it's fully available today. Other questions? No. All right. Next one is the PingID policy framework. And what you're going to see here is available today in a beta mode, but we only see it as step number 1. So basically, I'm not going to talk too much about the next step. There will be a couple of mentions over there, but for those of you who have been in Ayelet's presentation yesterday, you would see what the future holds in this direction. So what we are going to have productized within 3 months from now is basically the capabilities you would see here. And this would include the capabilities of doing geofencing and applying all sorts of simple policies, which are geographic-based or countries or network-based rules. In the future, we will add other policy elements such as ground speed check, IP velocity, and proximity. For example, if right now I'm authenticating from New Orleans, a couple of minutes later I'm authenticating from London, apparently something is wrong. For those of you who are going to attend later the masterclass of PingID, we will actually configure it and show you how to configure it. It's like 2-minute configuration and it's all set, so it's very nice, very intuitive. Other capabilities of the policy engine are around device posture and the pairing rules. So these would include capabilities such as device and OS version restriction, if you want to exclude those old Android which are less safe to use due to security reasons, or you want to enforce device lock and rooted or jailbroken devices, you want to exclude them from being able to run PingID. This capability would allow you. And in the future, we would add the company issue device, meaning the integration with the MDM vendor, which who here really like for PingID to integrate with MDM vendors? Popular request. So we have seen this request from multiple customers, and this is very high on our priority list. So I can ensure you that it will be added to the policy. In the pairing condition, we have the ability to limit the pairing process to be done within the company network. So this is like one extra condition that you can apply in order to maintain or create the chain of trust when somebody is pairing to the service. And we know that this is a very important use case where extra security measures are important.
One quick question, instead of giving a specific IP address, can I give an IP address range?
Oh yeah, of course, it supports range or multiple IPs, yeah, for sure. Other questions?
Just one, does it support your old legacy radius type clients?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. And for each authentication policy rule, there are a couple of actions that you can take. So currently, the first action you can take is just approve. And this is done without the user actually having to interact with the mobile app, what we call silent authentication. So whenever you can do it, and whenever you think that the trust is sufficient enough, and you can do automatic approval from the user perspective, hey, that's great, I've just been approved. So situations where you can apply it is actually if the user is found within the company premise and is authenticated from the company network, then in this case, and we can actually skip the swipe, right? This would be one great example when to use the approval. In addition, one of the features of the policy there would be to apply what we call MFA session. So if I just approved from my browser, then for the X period, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 2 hours, 5 hours, 2 days, I won't have to swipe again, right? So this is another usage. Of course, the other way is to deny. If you think that in some situation, we should simply deny the authentication, this is also possible, the swipe and the fingerprint, or the last one would be the OTP. So there are these use cases where you think that maybe the security, something is really fishy, so in this case, I don't want the user just to, okay, I'll swipe it, but kind of be more cautious about it. So we'll ask the user actually to use the OTP feature of PingID. All right, it's less user experience, but much more intentional, if you will. Yeah, the application includes report fraud. All right, next one is the mobile SDK. Who here heard about the mobile SDK before? Couple of hands, okay. So basically this capability would allow you to embed PingID capabilities within your own mobile apps. And this is very, very useful, especially if you take PingID use case into the consumer space where we realize you don't want your users or end users or consumers to download application named PingID. This is a little bit too weird for a consumer. It's okay for employee within an enterprise, but it's a little bit too weird for a consumer. So you can take PingID to authorize and to embed it within your mobile application, and by so enable a couple of use cases. The first one would be to authorize the device on which the actual application is running. And this is very useful because if somebody used or stolen the user credentials, then we would apply another restriction, which is restrict the user to a certain number of devices. Maybe 1 device, maybe 2, maybe 5. But we cannot just use user credentials from any device on the mobile app. So this is very useful. The second use case would be to use your mobile app as a step up for any other use case, maybe originated from web transaction, from PC transaction, or maybe originated from the app itself. Okay. So just to sum things up, I know that it's maybe a little bit confusing. Basically, after we complete the SDK next year, you would get two types of implementations of PingID. One would be the out-of-the-box implementation. You just activate PingID on your account, the user download PingID, everything works out of the box. Then you can actually brand it, and takes very small effort. You just put your assets over there, colors, everything works. Again, you don't have to develop anything. If you want to further take it into your own mobile application, then you have to develop, or your developers have to do some work, both on the mobile side and on the server side. So these would be the three models that we support. To sum things up, I think that we covered most of it. Just a couple of points to highlight. In terms of hosting, PingID now supports, it's being hosted on 3 hosting facilities, one in the US, one in Europe, one in Australia. So if your organization or if your affiliate organizations need to keep their PIIs on either Europe or Australian soil, this is now possible. This is a pretty recent example. Another feature that we support is the localization. Right now, PingID supports 4 languages. This number of languages is going to be extended in the coming few months into 12 languages. So to accommodate all those international users. Unluckily for us, Hebrew won't be supported. The Windows login and RDP integration I already mentioned, and we will bring it into full GA within the next quarter. The core branding capability, and this is now going forward a little bit, the core branding capability will be extended to cover other use cases, mainly the authentication pages from the website and the emails that PingID can support. They will now be able to be branded. The consumer SDK we already covered. And the MDM integration, as I said, we know it's very high on our customers' priority list, so it will be covered. Last minute questions before we end this session? Oh yeah, it will support all the PingID capabilities.
You also mentioned self-authentication. Is this form of adaptive authentication which RSA supports? And what are the capabilities? Where can we read about this? Is it included in the roadmap?
So this is a pretty big question, and RSA has a vast portfolio of products and capabilities over there. We started with a very basic set of policy capabilities, and if you come to the masterclass, you will be able to notice them yourself. And gradually, this one will grow over time.
Okay, one more.
When do you expect the geofencing to be in production?
So we're expecting during Q4, probably early Q4. Right now, it's in beta.
Is that per tenant or per user?
The geofencing is set per tenant.